So welcome again to the Transition to School information session. My name is Lindsay Mascott. I'm a Resource Consultant Supervisor with CLH Developmental Support Services, and I oversee the Resource Consultant Program. So thinking about your child's transition to school can be exciting and it can be scary. So tonight we'll walk through the transition timeline starting in January and through to September in hopes that it'll ease some of your concerns and questions you may have. And it'll also allow for information sharing. So information sharing is essential in order to plan your child's transition. You will be asked to provide consent and share information between your early intervention team and school services. So your resource consultant will talk to you and explain in detail what that consent means and what you're providing consent for. So information may be accessed using the children's treatment shared record with parent consent, of course. And when families consent, an email or hard copy of the student profile and tip may be shared with the school. So we'll talk a bit more in detail what the student profile and tip is through this presentation. So January and February, so what's happening now? So the projection sheet starts to populate and it provides school boards with a projection number of children transitioning into their school. This is filled out by the resource consultant. Again, your consent is provided to identify the needs on the projection list. It does give preliminary information pertaining to each child's support needs in each area of their development. And the information is requested to begin and identifying and preparing needs for the school as they start into school. So what do you need to do around this time? So January and February, registration starts to open with the school, and it's really important for you to get your child registered. So children may start school in September if they turn 4. So that means they'll enter into year 1. What's familiar with parents is that junior kindergarten or JK term. Or if they're 5, by the December 31st of that year, they'll enter into year 2, which most families are familiar with the term senior kindergarten or SK. So kindergarten is an introduction to school and it provides a foundation for future learning. Transition from school or preschool setting in kindergarten can be an emotional time, so especially if you have concerns about your child. However, developing a transition plan, which you will do with your resource consultant, will help you and ease your mind around transition to school. Plus, it builds communication with school staff that's essential for creating that positive first experience in school. So not to worry, we'll help you through that. So in March comes the student profile. So your resource consultant may be talking to you about this right now, or your infant and child development worker. So the student profile shown here provides each school board and a school with an overview of individual needs, supports in place, and additional reports available. So it talks about a level of support anticipated for dressing and eating and toileting, and it also provides additional information on safety needs, self-regulation, and accessibility. The completed student profile is then shared with each school board, again with consent, and information obtained through the student profile will also help in developing classroom groups, requesting EA support, and ensuring the building meets the needs of your child coming in. So also in March, it's time to get ready for kindergarten. So a lot of organizations such as the Early On begin to offer getting ready for kindergarten programs. So watch for opportunities within your community to sign up, and we'll talk about the Early On in our next slide. Corey.
Hello, everybody. My name is Corey Patton. I'm a preschool services supervisor with Empower Simcoe. And one of the programs on my portfolio is Early On Child and Family Centers. I thought I would talk to you a little bit today about early on programs across the county. We all do things a little bit similarly, even though there are a number of agencies that run these programs. But any Early On Child and Family Center is a place where we offer parents and caregivers with children, prenatal up to their 7th birthday, a range of free core services, which can assist them in their parenting and caregiving role. So we welcome all families of all abilities, all walks of life to participate in high quality programs that help us to strengthen your relationships with your children, to support parent education and foster healthy child development. We are staffed with qualified professionals that can help you and your family find supports in the community, get advice, make personal connections with other families, and access a network of resources. So often parents and caregivers, and we're all here to support our children. We often wonder if our children or our child is meeting their developmental milestones. And the program facilitators at all early on child and family centers are highly trained to complete developmental screening tools with parents and caregivers. We also base all of our programs on a pedagogy called How Does Learning Happen? And the really cool thing about that is that that also forms the foundation for kindergarten curriculum in Ontario. So coming out to visit us at one of our centers anywhere in the province really would give you a little bit of a taste of what kindergarten feels like. And coming up, starting in April, programs across the county are offering Getting Ready for K programs that will help prepare children and parents for kindergarten. There is a link here and it will come out with the slides. Registration isn't available until April 1st, but this will give you, if you follow this link, you'll be able to see all of the different sessions that are happening across the county, see if something might be a fit for you. It's pretty fun. So while there are a number of early on child and family center locations across the county, and they are operated, as I said, by a number of different agencies in Barrie, Innisfil, and Bradford area, that's by the agency that I work for, Empower Simcoe. Collingwood and Alliston can be found through E3. Midland and Aurelia is early on Simcoe North, and there are also French language services offered by La Clé. There are French language early on programs across the county as well. Heading over to any one of our websites will help you connect with any one of the programs in the county.
So that brings us into April. So April, we focus on the Transitional Integrated Program Plan. And even before that, you might have your resource consultant or infant and child development worker talking about the TIP. So why is the TIP so important? So the TIP is a report written by members of your early intervention team, and it documents each child's present development. It identifies goals in each area of the development and then strategies recommended by the team to achieve those goals. And that's shared with your school team. So child strengths and interests and transition supports and team recommendations are all detailed within the TIP document. And it's also something that you are welcome to participate in adding information that you feel relevant is in sharing with the school team. So again, it provides strategies for the school team that can be used immediately to promote a successful transition to school. And the TIP also provides the necessary information for the school to develop an IEP. So finalizing. So that term is going to come up with your resource consultant or infant and child development worker, and finalizing the TIP is really important. And so what that means is it gives you an opportunity to review all the information with the TIP, and it allows you to consent and give permission to share a copy with the school. So it is necessary to finalize and consent for sharing information, as it does promote referrals to be made to other service providers as your child enters school. And then we have May and June. So school transition meetings happen in May and June. And so what is a meeting for? Why might you have a meeting? Well, a school transition meeting is scheduled for your family to have an opportunity to share your visions and your concerns. It also allows for an opportunity to highlight the strengths of your child and then to develop a plan to accommodate their needs. So you will be part of this meeting. Your resource consultant will support you in setting up this meeting with school staff or your infant and child development worker. And school staff may take this time to discuss with you and clarify any recommendations and strategies of support. So Parents with support from the resource consultant, they will share this information with your school team, and that will happen around May and June. The meeting also provides an opportunity to clarify any referrals, similar to what I talked about earlier, and supports from your early intervention team, and allows for families and school team to set a foundation for a positive relationship. And that brings us to before and after school programs. Marcia?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, in May and June, it is also time to start considering before and after school programs and to think about registering for these programs. So I'm Marcia Walker. I'm the Early Years and Childcare Coordinator with Simcoe County District School Board. Today, I'm just speaking on behalf of all 5 school boards within our county. In most of the schools in the county, before and after school programs are provided by third-party childcare operators. These high-quality programs provide care for children in kindergarten to grade 6 before and or after regular day school day hours. And in some locations on PA days, winter break, March break, and summer holidays. Throughout the county, we have a variety of childcare operators within these schools that provide these programs. And you'll see the list here, beginning with the YMCA, all the way down through, and we have about 10 different operators within the schools. Please note that the resource consultants also support the licensed childcare system, including these before and after school programs. Resource consultants regularly visit these programs to discuss any challenges and build on the strengths and share resources to support the program as a whole. Please contact the childcare organization that is listed as the operator in your school to register for the program directly. And also note that registration before June 30th is strongly encouraged for these programs. Thank you, Lindsay.
And now it's time to welcome you to the schools. So throughout the next part of the presentation, we'll talk about safety and toileting and transportation will be addressed, along with some frequently asked questions. School boards across Simcoe County will provide you with specific information about their schools. And should you have any specific questions arise, please reach out to your resource consultant or infant and child development worker. We will also take a look at some additional resources that may be available with other agencies, along with some community resources. Jacqueline.
Thank you, Lindsay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline McBride. I'm a special education consultant with the Simcoe Muskoka Catholic District School Board. I support school teams across the region with programming, accessing devices for students, assistive things, referrals, and part of my portfolio is also the transition to school process. So for this part of the presentation, I will be speaking on behalf of all school boards in the county, as your child's safety and well-being is the top priority for all of us, and our messaging is consistent across all boards regarding this information. So I'm going to start here discussing a few things. So all school boards in Simcoe County continue to work closely with and take the advice from the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit on all matters related to COVID-19. So at this time, children are required to wear masks both inside and outside and while riding the bus. And we know that this is something that is currently in place, but with the messaging that we have received from the government today, things will be changing, but we don't know specifically what the impact will be come September, because things are really changing as time goes on. So as we learn more information from the health unit, the respective school boards in the area will be communicating all protocols to families. So children will be continue to be encouraged to practice good hand washing hygiene, and toys are cleaned regularly. Virtual schooling options are still unknown at this time, as school boards are continuing to plan for September. So the determination will ultimately be made by the Ministry of Education in conjunction with respective school boards. And again, when things are finalized, all of this will be communicated to you. So once again, the guidelines I spoke to earlier about mask wearing and such is effective today, but things may likely change come September. So now we'll move on to safety planning. So schools and educators are committed to ensuring the safety of your child. So it's important to discuss any safety concerns you may have with your school team at the transition meeting. Some children may have additional needs regarding safety, so additional support to adjust to kindergarten will be part of the transition process, and school teams may address these safety concerns through a multitude of accommodations, including but not limited to additional supervision, stop signs posted, alarms or bells on doors. We have fenced play yards for our kindergarten students, hand-in-hand transitions, social narratives, positive behavior support plans and reinforcement systems, individual education plans and goals specific to safety, and medical plans where required. Where a student's behavior poses an ongoing risk of injury to self or others, a plan of safety may be developed under the direction of the principal to support the student. And these types of discussions always happen in a team format, and you are part of that team as the parent. Note that support plans can be developed at any time and are reviewed regularly. Toileting and readiness. So it's important to promote independence in the washroom before your child begins school. Please discuss your child's anticipated level of support at the transition to school meeting. Your input is so valuable. In cases where children require initial or ongoing support with toileting needs at school, accommodations may include visual prompting, verbal prompting and reminders, time toileting schedules, and full support delivered in an accessible washroom, and or change tables will be provided as required. Note that educational assistants are the staff members that support students with toileting in the schools. It wouldn't be the teacher, it would be an educational assistant. And parents would be required to provide diapers or pull-ups and wipes. And it's also important to always have a change of clothes on hand. So if you could please send a change of clothes to school, everything labeled with your child's name, that would be awesome. And now I'm going to turn it over to Shannon to speak about transportation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shannon Thompson. I'm a consultant in special education with the Public Board, Simcoe County District School Board, and I'm going to be addressing transportation, which applies to all 5 boards in our county. If you have any transportation questions about which school is your catchment, or whether or not you're eligible for bus services, you can just go into your search engine and type in Simcoe County student transportation. There's an acronym SCSTC, but I never remember that, so I always just type in what I remember. That will give you all kinds of information, including what you see at the bottom there. Most of all of our kids who are attending school for the first time might benefit from the First Rider program. This is a program put on by SCSTC, where formerly it was in person, and you would be invited in the summertime to come and get on a bus and talk about what some of the safety procedures are on a bus and what to expect. And because over the last couple of years it was done in video, these videos are actually located on YouTube. There are 2 sets. One is for the parents and one is a student-friendly one. So if you are going to be having your child ride bus, I highly recommend it. And as for whether or not it will be virtual or in person this year, I can't predict that, but you should be getting some information from your school about that. In the case of specialized transportation, if your son or daughter will be riding a van, you can request to have a practice with that type of vehicle. Unless your child is approved for specialized transportation, all students who attend their home school that reside in the walking zone are going to be walking to and from school. All the children who are attending their home school and live outside of the walking zone are going to be eligible for commuter transportation, so one of the school buses. In some instances, specialized transportation is provided for students with exceptional needs. You might see our Simcoe County vans or wheelchair accessible buses. Eligibility for the specialized transportation is usually based on a doctor's recommendation, or if there are physical needs, or for some reason a student can't walk safely to school with an adult. The approval for some of these special circumstances comes up yearly, and in some cases, specialized transportation might be approved, and then a school will put a plan into place to phase that out as they get more accustomed to the process on a bus or what have you for a walker. It's important that you bring any questions about transportation to your school meeting. That is something that's going to come up as you go through the tip with your RC or your ICDW, but it's important that you voice your concerns or bring up your questions at that meeting, because that principal is ultimately going to be one of the people who can answer those questions and can make referrals or set you on the pathway towards applying for specialized transportation. A little bit about kindergarten at Simcoe County District School Board. Ultimately, I would direct you to the public website. So that will be SCDSB in your search engine. When you go to that website, you will see a panel at the top and choose elementary and then planning for school. And it will open up another panel with different areas that will likely answer all your questions about attending school. Our kindergartens are inclusive. Some schools might have 5, 6 kindergartens in them. They are all play-based. They all follow the curriculum from the Ministry of Education, and they all are a little bit different. However, if you go onto your school board's website, and in our case, for Simcoe County District School Board, and then find the kindergarten panel, you can actually see a video that will show you a day in the life of a child in a Simcoe County District School Board kindergarten. You'll see a video about getting ready for kindergarten, some tips to help prepare you for September. And this little Welcome to Kindergarten booklet will give you a nice overview of things to expect. When we're talking about special education in Simcoe County, my #1 recommendation, again, is to go to the staff website or the public website and then go to elementary and then special education. What you'll find is this booklet that's shown on the right, and it will answer all of your questions about special education in Simcoe County District School Board, including whether or not your child might need to receive some additional support, either by a special education teacher or an educational assistant, whether they might need an IEP or individual education plan after following the tip in the kindergarten, some specialized equipment and assistive technology, whether that be for hearing or vision or accessing the curriculum. And also we have a variety of special education class placements that might open up based on a student's age and based on a student's need. So I encourage you to download this special education parent guide. And at the back of this booklet will give you a roadmap to all the acronyms that you're about to hear in the school system. If you think you've heard a lot of acronyms now, wait, just you wait.
It doesn't, it wanted me to click on the link, so I apologize. It's just gonna take a minute. It did want to.
Oh, here we are. This is where you'll end up if you click the link in the PowerPoint, and you'll find the parent guide just a little bit lower. I was going to start tap dancing to see if I should fill time.
Okay, there, right button now.
Thank you, Lindsay. Now I will speak to the Simcoe Muskoka Catholic District School Board, to which I represent. Our mission statement is faithfully, inclusively, and equitably, we inspire every student to realize their God-given potential. And we are so excited to welcome your little ones in September. In order to get the process going with registration and such, if you visit our website, smcdsb.on.ca, you will find everything you need for kindergarten registration. It is online registration. And our homepage has a button on it that you see the icon here on the top left of the screen. And if you click on that, it will take you right to our kindergarten page. And on that kindergarten page, you will find all kinds of information about the kindergarten program itself, the getting ready for kindergarten videos, our kindergarten booklet, to which are both linked here on this slide as well. Information about childcare programs, our Catholic kindergarten program, kindergarten resources, information about registration, specific questions, FAQs, and transportation as well. So all kinds of information is available for you there. So as families, if you are choosing this faith-based education for your child, in order to register with our school board, you would need some documentation to complete the registration process. The documentation required would be a birth date documentation for your child, proof of your child's address, record of immunization, and either the child or the parent's Roman Catholic baptismal certificate. And we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So in our school board, the main difference between us and the public school board is just what I mentioned before. We do provide a faith-based education, and our model is one of inclusion. So we believe that inclusion is about relationships and belonging, that inclusion is about the attitudes that we have and demonstrate through our actions towards each other. Inclusion is a responsibility of everyone, and inclusion is rooted in the gospel. So in our school board, with this inclusion model, all students are supported within the context of the regular classroom. So within the school, as an example, a resource room or a sensory space, but the students are generally supported in the context of the regular classroom as part of that inclusion model. So together, we hope to build a successful transition for your child, and we will do that through a collaborative process, through our team meetings, through our transition meeting, and we will discuss your child's needs, supports and services required, any specialized equipment, specialized transportation, some of the things we've already discussed earlier this evening. We do have a transition planning brochure that can guide you with some further information about these sorts of things. And we do also have a parent guide to special education. These things are all available for you to check out on our website if you go to the special education tab. So again, as the first educators of your children, we honor and value your input, parents, and we can't wait to meet you and to meet your little ones and plan for September. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jacqueline. And on behalf of the Protestant Separate School Board, located in the town of Penetanguishene, Burkeville Protestant Separate School Board is a school board that serves students who live in the town of Penetanguishene. So their student registration link and welcome to kindergarten link, it will be provided within this slide. So for more information, you can contact Burkeville Protestant Separate School Board at the number or click on their website. Again, this is for students who live in the town of Penetanguishene. Patrick.
I think this one's mine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Renee.
Bonjour ou bonsoir, tout le monde. I'm going to go in French and English in this one. So I'm the Director of Student Services for Le Conseil Scolaire Viamonde, and we're the French public school board up in the region. We're actually a school board that spans quite a large region, from all the way from Penetang all the way down to Niagara Falls to Windsor and almost to Peterborough and to Bowmanville. So we have 3 schools in the Barrie region, which are l'Académie La Pinède, which is on the Borden base, l'École élémentaire La Source, which is around the Maple View area, and Saint Joseph, which is up in Penetanguishene. So but that's it's nice to meet you. So I don't know if there's any Francophone parents here, but I'll continue in French and in English. So we have quite a bit of transition programs, and usually we, when you have come to our school board site, you will see that there's the inscriptions, le lien d'inscription, to which I'll be talking about later. But we do facilitate, or we do a lot of pre-transitional meetings, which are usually based on collaboration with the parents, community services, and et cetera, depending on different things. So if you're going to go or you're looking into coming to the French Public School Board, there are requisites to be able to come to the school board. We do need students to have a Francophone relative and or Francophone base, and all of our communications are done in French. So that is very important for that sort of information. And there are some other things, but we do accept students that do not have parents that are what we call Francophiles, which are, and that is a committee that we do. So if you go on our school board site, you will see the formulaire de pre-inscription en ligne, which is the pre-inscription. You can do that at any time, and that will be directed to the school that is closest to your region. And after that, there are many programs to transition the children. So what you can kind of follow through on what you need to know about coming to school and transitioning to school. We also have a program, Bientôt à l'école, which is a program for parents and children, and Découvrez les programmes à la maternelle, which are the different programs that we offer at our school board level. If you have any questions, we do have a direct line that you can reach at, which is the 1877 number there, or you can send an information or an email to all of that. I think all of the other school boards, we have some of the same programming that you do. So transportation is bus. We have all of our students are bused in. If there's your child qualifies for special transportation or taxi transportation, we do have that option, but it's for special circumstances, and there's a process to that. We do have before and after school program also, and some other programming for that, and as well as IEP, special IEPs, and SLP services and transitional programs. So thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Renee. Patrick.
My name is Patrick. I'm going to be bilingual too. So, je travaille pour le Conseil scolaire catholique Mon Avenir. Donc, on est aussi un conseil scolaire francophone. So, we are a French Catholic school board. So, we will, like Viamon, speaking French and communicate with you in French when you attend our school board. So, when you apply, it is important to inform the principal or the admission team of all the needs of your children. And once all the details has been collected by the principal, you will communicate with the board to plan a meeting, including you, the parents, the school staff, and a consultant. And during this meeting, you will share the relevant elements to help us to plan the start of the school year. This will help us to put a transition plan in place. And in this plan, we will certainly talk about the specialists who will have to get involved, equipment, the school may have to order, and for sure discuss about specialized transportation if necessary. Donc, oops, sorry, I'm just going to say it in French. Donc, lorsque vous inscrivez votre enfant au Conseil scolaire Mon Avenir, c'est important de mentionner les besoins de votre enfant à la direction ou au comité d'admission pour s'assurer qu'on planifie une rencontre de transition avec vous pour que vous puissiez vraiment nous communiquer vos besoins. Ça va nous aider, nous, l'équipe, à planifier un plan de transition pour parler des spécialistes qui devront être impliqués dès le début de l'année, de l'équipement qu'on devra commander et peut-être de parler d'un transport spécialisé si de haut besoin. Vous pouvez voir aussi à droite de l'écran, on a un guide des programmes des services destinés à l'enfance en difficulté, accessible au CSC Mon Avenir. Thank you. And on the next slide, you can see where we are in your region. So we are in Tini, Aurelia, Borden, Penetanguishim, and Collin. And on the next slide, you, and the, sorry, I forgot the board. There we have to in Bornberry, and we have high schools too. On the next slide, you will have links to apply if you want to, and you can write on one of those links your address to see which school is the closest to your area. There's a direct line to if you need help or if you have questions, you can call at that number. Thank you, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Patrick. We're going to talk about some community resources that are available to you. So I'm going to pass it on to Angela Paler.
Thanks, Lindsay. My name's Angela Paler, and some of you might recognize me as an occupational therapist. I do work in the early intervention world for Soldiers Memorial Hospital in Midland, but I also wear another hat. I'm what's called a local team facilitator, and that's through Children's Treatment Network. And CTN has a local team facilitator in each area of Simcoe and York. We're a bridge between you and the CTN resources, and we also work within your communities to help create more opportunities for children with developmental needs to have fun, participate in family events, and meet friends. So I wanted to share with you some resources you can access through CTN. CTN does flow dollars to local agencies to provide some rehabilitation services. So services like OT, physio, speech and language, and augmentative communication services. As Lindsay had mentioned earlier, if your child's involved with early intervention and these particular services, as you transition to school, connect back with your team to talk about what those next steps are and if any referrals are going to be made. CTN also can provide some assistance through brief resource. So you can call them to request help with accessing funding, camp, information, respite, or other services. And we have our access phone number there on the slide that you can call. We also have what's called a family mentor program. So if you're wanting to connect with someone who has similar lived experience raising a child with a disability or developmental needs, reach out to Access, the number on your slide, to ask more information about the Family Mentor Program. We also host monthly events with our partners or with different agencies within Simcoe and York. And these might also include some businesses in the community as well. And so we've got an events page, like a calendar that outlines all the events happening throughout Simcoe and York. And you can find it on our website. So I've put a link in here and a QR code that takes you directly to the events page. So take a peek, and if you haven't already received information, we do have some events happening next week during March break at Y Marsh, at Scanlon Falls, and some birthday parties. So go to the events page and check those things out. We also have a monthly newsletter where the local team facilitators connect with you monthly to provide some information about what's happening within your community. So you could sign up for it on our webpage as well, sorry. And then CTN Corporate sends out a newsletter as well. So you would get 2 newsletters per month, but you can make adjustments to that when you sign up. We also have an online resource center on the CTN website. So if you're looking for more information about your child's diagnosis or just some community resources, it's a great place to start your search, to look for information. And you can access that through the link there or the QR code. We also have access to, or you can have access to e-learning content with a free account to our community learning library. And we host various content on child and youth development and also some professional development as well. So things like setting up your child for success in kindergarten. We have some mindful mic meditations. We have some stress management and leadership courses on there as well. So feel free to take a look at that, and the information is on your screen. And then CTN has a YouTube channel, and we've posted some videos. We're working currently with the Georgian College OT, occupational therapy assistants and physical therapy assistants, and they're helping to create some fun videos to guide you through modifying some birthday events. So keep your eye out for those as they're coming in within the next month. But we also have videos there from therapists just showing how to do some things maybe outside with some of your household items. So it's a great place to check things out, good resource to have. And then, of course, CTN has what's called the shared record, and all of your early intervention team members document on this record about you and your child and the services that you're receiving. And this allows you not to always have to share your story over and over again with those that you meet, and allows opportunity for the service providers to work in an integrated fashion. So if you have any questions about your child shared record, reach out to your early intervention team to talk about those questions, and they can help guide you through that process. Or if you wanted to, you can also reach out to Health Records at CTN, and they can help answer some of your questions as well. So that email and is on your slide as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. So to talk about more community resources, I'm going to pass it over to Corey for Empower Simcoe.
Hello again. For some families, supports might be needed for your child as they go through their school career up until they transition to adulthood. And as our kids get older, services sort of funnel and narrow down a little bit. But one of the programs that is available to some families is the Family Support Program. So at Empower Simcoe, the Family Support Program offers family-centered case management support to families who have a child under the age of 18 and who is still living at home. And the child requires a diagnosis of intellectual disability to qualify for the program. What we do, though, is assist those families to access community resources. We provide both direct and indirect supports to families throughout home visits, collaborative community visits, resources, and referral supports. So we might help you work with your school, we might help with transition, and then that transition into adulthood. So supports can range from a single resource appointment to active and ongoing regular support, depending on the needs of your child and family. Referrals can be made right through our website. And one of the things I should mention that the program at Empower Simcoe has a catchment area of Barrie, Bradford, Innisfil area. Families in that area who have a child who may need this program can make a direct referral through our website by giving us a call, sending an email. Not to worry though, for folks who are already part of the early intervention system, if your child may qualify for supports from Family Support, your resource consultant or your infant and child development worker will be working with you to ensure that that referral gets done. And that will happen prior to your child heading off into school so that we can work together as a team to make sure that the school transition happens as positively as possible.
Thanks, Corey. And I'm going to pass it on to Nancy with Catalpa to talk about family resource in Catalpa.
Thanks, Lindsay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Wright. I'm a family resource worker with Catalpa Community Support Services. Our role is very similar to what Corey from Empowered Simcoe just described, except we provide support to all areas except for Barrie, Bradford, and Innisfil. So we have offices in Alliston, Collingwood, Aurelia, and Midland. So again, we provide support to families who have a child under the age of 18 who has a diagnosis of an intellectual disability and or physical disability. We can work with you to identify and develop, identify goals and develop an IFSP. We can provide case management and service coordination. We can help you access necessary or available resources within your community, and also provide you some information and support regarding school issues. And basically, if you have any questions, we're usually the good place to make the first call to. You can make a referral to our program with the numbers listed on your screen. And I would also encourage you to talk to your resource consultant or your infant and child development worker. If you think this is a service that you might be interested in, we can certainly join that transition to school process by attending some of those transition to school meetings prior to an actual referral to our program. I'd like to point out too that just you might want to check out Catalpa's website. We have lots of information there, more details about what our program offers and other programs within Catalpa. For example, we have key service support workers who support families who have a child with a diagnosis or a possible diagnosis of fetal alcohol syndrome disorder. And we have other programs as well. So I encourage you to check out Catalpa's website. Thanks.
Thanks, Nancy. So another community resource we have that's very specific to children with autism is the Ontario Autism Program, and I'm going to pass it on to Sarah Ferguson.
Thank you, Lindsay. On behalf of the York Simcoe Autism Network, I'd like to welcome everybody and thank the organizers for the opportunity to share information about the Entry to School program that is being offered through the Ontario Autism Program. So my name is Sarah Ferguson. I'm a supervisor with CLH Developmental Support Services, and I'm joined by my colleague Marie, who can introduce herself now too.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marie Schnell, and I am a coordinator with Mackenzie Health at Center for Behavioral Health Sciences.
Thanks, Marie. So we're here representing the YSAN Network, which is a partnership of agencies that came together to plan and provide programs offered to families by the Ontario Autism Program in both York Region and in Simcoe County. You may recognize some of the agencies on the slide here that have all come together in partnership. So Marie and I are going to briefly share information about the Entry to School program that is launching this month. So to be eligible to participate, your child must have a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder and be registered with the Ontario Autism Program and have received an invitation to participate from the OAP or from the ministry. And they must be between the ages of 3 and 6, so that school eligible age range, and be entering school, either kindergarten or grade 1 for the first time in September 2022. Children are not eligible if they're receiving core clinical funding or have an OAP funded active behavior plan, or if they have already started attending school. So we may have heard in the community children who are already in junior kindergarten and they're going to be entering senior kindergarten, they may have gotten an invitation for this. The ministry, they sent the invitations to the entire age range of children that were eligible. So unfortunately, they did go to some families who were not eligible. So on behalf of the ministry, we would like to apologize for that and for any confusion or frustration that may have caused. I'd like to pass things over to Marie now, who will share a little bit more information about what exactly the program is.
Hello, everyone. So this program is designed to be delivered through a multidisciplinary approach, and it's going to be comprised of behavior therapists, early childhood educators, speech and language pathologists, occupational therapists, and more. The entire program is offered for a 12-month duration. And during the first 6 months of the program, children will participate in group-based services where they will be placed in a classroom for half of the day throughout Monday to Friday. So that's 5 days a week. During this time, they will have a team of professionals teaching through play-based learning and working to develop some important skills that are essential to a successful transition to school. So children will be experiencing the similar classroom experiences of group-based learning and routines focused across domains of communication, social integration, play, self-regulation, functional routines, and academic goals, so things like attending. Following that 6 months in the group-based learning, the child would then be assigned a consultant who would facilitate your transition to school by working with you and your family, as well as your registered school and support team to offer effective strategies and to be a point of access for community resources and also to support that smooth transition into school. So this program is funded by the Ministry of Children and delivered through the YSAN, so that's the York Region and Simcoe. And then we also are currently accepting registrations right now. So with classes starting as early as the end of this month. So if you are interested in this program or learning more, we ask that you take the steps to first register. Once you register, a YSAN representative will then reach out to you to discuss the next steps in beginning your enrollment, and we'll be able to evaluate your eligibility on a case-by-case basis if you have more questions. So if you have any individual questions that are specific to you and your family, or you have a specific question about your child, prior to registering that you would like to discuss, we ask that you use the contact information on the screen to talk through your specific situation with the representative that is going to be able to better understand your circumstances and give you the most individualized answer.
Thank you, Marie. And hooray, we made it to September and through to December. So it's time to go to school. So what happens now? Now that your child has started school and the school has all the information, it's time for your resource consultant and your infant and child development worker to review the discharge process with you. So your resource consultant and your infant development worker will walk you through it, and they'll explain the details to you and ensuring that you and your child know all about next steps. So thank you for joining us today. Recording will stop.